Yeah, but he was here. Actually, he was one of the first like students that was in our program back in. I don't know what year you were. We won't mention it. But he's actually he's going to tell you a little bit about himself, and then he's going to talk to you about scholarships. So we just wanted him to kind of talk about where you can find them and how to go about and do them, the scholarships. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. So and he works for. He'll tell you a little bit about that and then what he does. And so if you ever need any of his resources or for him to do some things as far as financial management, that's the person to talk to.
Awesome. Thank you. Are we broadcasting also?
Yeah.
Okay.
This one you'll use right here.
Okay. Yeah, I might. Can we turn that one around and I can just type it in?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. You are getting taken care of today with lunch. It smells good. I bet all of y'all look like y'all have happy plates, so it must be delicious. Did the school make that, or did like one of y'all make it? No. Awesome.
Yeah, this is kind of tricky.
Okay. And then, how do I turn it on? Do I just press space bar? Well, like Manny was saying, my name is Ben Mercado. We're gonna just talk a little bit about kind of some scholarship resources and also financial aid. Is anybody in here successful in getting financial aid so far? Yep, got some of that taken care of. Good. So very familiar with the FAFSA, right? You got that. If you've already been awarded it once, you're probably going to get it again. But just wanted to go over some other things in addition to FAFSA, like with scholarship resources. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. But to tell you a little bit about myself, my story is that I am a first generational college student, meaning that, my dad did come here to South Plains actually, but he never pursued university or his higher ed after getting his associates. So technically that kind of puts me in the first gen of things. And even for him and his family, he was the first out of his brothers and sisters to even consider going to college. Yep, we're good. Thank you. And so that was a big inspiration for me in coming to South Plains because I wanted to continue that legacy for him. And to me, that was important, especially knowing that, my parents had me at a very young age. And so they just really didn't pursue a lot of opportunities that they might have or they even knew about. And so the fact that you're here to learn about some of these things is awesome in itself. And so me being a first gen student, coming here to South Plains, I wasn't even aware of the Star Center until I had stumbled upon it or somebody had came to present to our class. And it was one of the most positive experiences I had here at South Plains because it made me feel like I wasn't alone. And I don't know if any of y'all can relate to that. Even the program that I was studying in, I still felt by myself, even though I was amongst my peers and people that were interested in the same things. I still felt by myself because of, I still felt by myself because there just weren't a lot of people that looked like me. And so coming to the Star Center, I was able to get plugged in with people that were also first gen or first time, being at school. And so it made me feel a lot more connected. And I think that's important because without that connection, I probably wouldn't have finished on time or finished with such a great experience. And I always enjoyed, things like this where we got to get together and then some of the events that we would go to together outside of campus was just a nice to have a change in scenery that wasn't where my nose was in a book reading all night or all day. And so it was nice to have that. And when I left here after graduating, the biggest thing that I realized for myself was that I learned how to learn. And it wasn't even about the program that I was studying for. So learning how to learn is something that I always apply in everything that either whatever job I'm doing or presenting and coming in front of people and talking like this. I know that there's always something new that I could add to either improve what I have to offer an employer, or something that I can learn to just be better for myself, for the people around me. Probably some of you being students here and even part of the Star Center probably have people depending on you or looking up to you. Does anybody here have siblings or cousin younger than you? So they're really kind of looking up to you in that regard. And so, passing that legacy on to them is a part of what you're doing for them. And I'm sure you have your own people that have been an inspiration to you. So that's a little bit about myself. I came here to study sound technology. So I learned how to work in a studio setting, or for a radio, or for a television company, a lot of different applications for that. And then after working at a local studio here for about 15 years in Lubbock, I decided to go back to school, and I went to Texas Tech to learn about personal finance and personal financial planning. And then part of that, it helped put me through school. The audio work helped put me through school. And then I was able to just really spread my wings and pursue other things. Like I said, learning is going to be a part of everything that I do. And it just happened to be a part of what I was doing there at Tech. And it even expanded further to where I was participating in something called Toastmasters. Has anybody here heard of Toastmasters before? No. So Toastmasters is an organization that you get to practice public speaking. And I remember some of the people that would come visit my classes here at South Lane. I was like, wow, how do they have so much energy? Or how do they talk so eloquently? Or how could they have so much courage to do that? I could never do that. It's terrifying just to even think about it. Makes my palms sweaty, or makes my, me have butterflies in my tummy. But things like that, learning to overcome those challenges is something I learned and was able to do there at Toastmasters. And so I encourage you always to continue learning, but also continue to remember that people are looking up to you, especially with the community that you're a part of and the legacy that you're building. You're going to be an inspiration to people, to others who look like you, who sound like you. And I think that's a big deal and important for people, especially that for people like at the Star Center. So let's talk about your FAFSA. So those of you who did apply for FAFSA, what was that process like? Do you mind sharing some of your experience with that? What's that? Okay. It was complicated? Did you do it by yourself, or did you have some help?
Well, when you try to do it by yourself.
Yeah, it's like, what is this? Did you finally find somebody to help you with it? Who did you have help you with it? Okay. So a department here in. Okay, awesome. Was there somebody else over here that had FAFSA? No? Great. So once you applied for it, what did they offer you? Like, they gave you some support for that? Good. Help pay for some of your classes? Good. Yeah, it's important to have some help with that. So definitely look at what offices here on campus. Do they have access to that manual for FAFSA?
Yeah, they can help you there, but we also help them here at the Star Center. If anybody has for renewals, we can help them get that.
Renewals? Okay, perfect. So that's always the first place to start. And then also here in Texas, there might be some other financial programs that provide financial aid, and then other scholarship opportunities. I know when I attended Star, I received one of the scholarships that they had to offer here. Do y'all still offer those? No? Okay. Yeah, and that was an awesome burp. That means the food was good. Even in my program here, and even here on campus, they offer some programs. I'm certain of it. I don't know what it is now, but I remember in my program, there was a work study opportunity. Do any of y'all have work study opportunities in your department? Yeah, and if they're limited, it's kind of on a first come, first served basis. I remember when I was in the commercial music program, there was a scholarship offered for anybody who wanted to help calendar the studio. So somebody would request a time, I would check the calendar, and all I had to do was put their name on the calendar.
And by doing that, I earned like a $250 scholarship. And I did it for the semester. It was great in many ways because I got the financial support that was really helpful. $250 for me at the time was really helpful to help pay for books or pay for anything. It was just awesome to have that. But not only did I get the financial support, but I also was able to be put in a position where I could gain human capital or social capital. So if you are the point person or if you have a job to do, you have to work with others. They depend on you and you depend on them. And so that helped me create a network of people that I wouldn't have had if I was just sticking to the library and just studying and just doing my schoolwork. By doing the work study, I was able to meet other peers, meet other people that were in my program. And by that, everybody became familiar with who I was. Not for popularity or anything like that, but because there might be something I might need help with that I could then ask them, or maybe they needed help with something and they could ask me. So it was a way to get connected also in my program. So maybe look at your department and look at some of those work study opportunities. What was the one that you were talking about? Tell me a little bit about that.
I worked at the library for a little bit, and
Cool.
I work at the game room now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so by working at the game room, you probably see a lot more people than you would if you just were like in your dorm room or at your apartment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's some benefits to that, not just financially, but also socially. And even in the future, you never know what kind of connections you're going to make now that you'll meet or see again many years from now. I remember there was somebody who I was sitting across from in a coaches meeting for our Little League. And he goes, I think I remember you from South Plains. And I was like, oh, yeah, I was in this program, in this class. And I think we had this class together. He goes, yeah, I remember because of this. And so you just never know who you're going to meet in the future. And that can be a benefit also. So some more specific resources would be for FastWeb. FastWeb is a scholarship search engine. So we'll pull that up and just show you what it looks like. So there we have FastWeb. Looks like you just need to create an account, and they probably have some resources there to help you, to show you step by step on how to work through that. Do y'all utilize any of this here?
That's what. But that's what we're. More the better.
Yeah, awesome. Let's see. Now, just like with the work study we were talking about, and then even applying here at the Star Center, resources are limited. So always try to do things early, the first come, first serve, and those awards can be done early before your semester starts. So keep that in mind. We also have another website, if you want to write down, it's the College Board website. So we're just going to open up a bunch of tabs here for you. So connect with colleges and scholarships. So it looks like the same thing. You just go in and create a profile, probably a free profile, and then just follow some of those steps. Anybody in here first generation? Yep. Well, I think everybody has to be in order to be in part of the program, right? So then there's a specific foundation called the First Generation Foundation, and that's a nonprofit organization that helps first-gen students qualify for those specific types of scholarships. So then you have another website, firstgenerationfoundation.org. So once you start having some of these resources, now it's, kind of sorting through them. But I think it wouldn't hurt to go ahead and tackle all of them and then start eliminating them or at least completing those processes. There's another one that is specific to Hispanics. And so there is the Hispanic Scholarship Fund. HSF.net. Very same thing. You just go and create a profile and find out what tips they have there.
I'm going to ask you, what are some things that students can do to better prepare or better qualify for scholarships?
Sure. So a lot of that has to do with like funds and access to like bank accounts and things like that. So a lot of that you're already positioned for, probably. And so I'll go through some of those. Let me just list this one last website that I wanted y'all to have resource to. The Gates Millennium Scholarship Program. So this helps individuals with a minority background, including first generation. So not only is it first generation, but also with a minority background. So that one's the Gates Millennium Scholarship. And that's gmsp.com or .org. So lots of good things there. So in line with what you were saying, Manuel, there is also financial literacy. So have you had any financial literacy presentations this semester? So who's familiar with that word, financial literacy? Sounds fancy, but it's really not. So when I say financial literacy, what are some of the things that some of y'all think about? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Understanding finances? Yes. So it's super simple, and I'll break it down to you in just a few minutes. So if you have a job, let's say you're working at Whataburger or Wendy's or Sonic or anything, or maybe doing a work study, you're going to have some sort of income, right? So what is your income on a monthly basis? And then just like we have everything here, or we are familiar with, we have expenses. So we have gas we have to pay for, food we have to pay for. Today, food was free, so that's nice to not to have that expense. And so anytime you can get free food, definitely take advantage of that. So just making sure that you're not spending more than you're making. That's what financial literacy is. And there's other things like understanding how credit cards work and also how investment accounts work and also how insurances work. So those are other financial literacy topics that you can start to, kind of start looking into. There's a lot of great YouTube videos out there as well for financial literacy that are produced by financial counselors and also financial planners. So do a lot of learning and research on that. When it comes to making sure that you can kind of qualify for some of financial aid and scholarships, there's ways that you can make yourself eligible. Usually you already are eligible, but some of those include making sure that you don't have what they call them assets. So if you have like a lot of money in savings accounts, or if you have your parents have like a 401k or an IRA and a large investment account, sometimes making sure that they don't put that in your name helps you be eligible for some scholarships and financial aid. And so that's where some planning can kind of come in. And then even whenever, your kids or your future starts looking at colleges, you can also do things to help them be eligible for scholarships in the future. Because that's the whole point of being first-gen students, is that you're going to do a great job, be successful, and you're going to change your family legacy in the future. But even with that change, you can still help your own kiddos be eligible in the future for scholarships and financial aid. So a lot of that is just making sure that those savings accounts are low and or there's not any big investment accounts in your name. Anybody here looking at going to university after this? Great. Awesome. What are you looking at? What schools maybe? Tech? Yes. Yeah, it's pretty simple because it's right. It's really close by, right? So definitely encourage you to do that. Once you finish here at South Plains, definitely encourage you to continue to be good at, finding these scholarships and finding these financial aids, so that way you can continue that at Texas Tech or any other university. And then if anybody wants to pursue graduate school, hopefully by then you can be really good at finding these things. Did you have a question? No? Okay. So the last thing I do want to end with is really just a word of encouragement. Remember that scholarships and also financial aid can be competitive. So a lot of it's based on your GPA. A lot of it's based on how well you're doing in your classes now. You also can look at the minority scholarships and funding help that is out there, and then also first-gen students. You might be eligible for some things there. But a lot of those websites can help you fine-tune some of them. Just answer a lot of those questions, and it can help you find them. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there, and then just, the worst thing that you can do is apply and they say no. So apply. Try to get as much help with that as possible. Make sure that your grades are good, because that's going to be helpful as well. And then, programs like this, like the things you do here at STAR, do y'all do any community outreach anymore, Manuel, or?
We did some, but like because of COVID and stuff, we did.
Been a little limited.
Volunteer.
So anything that you can do that is extracurricular, or anything that you could put on an application that you're doing for the community, whether it's in Lubbock, here in Levelland, or maybe with a nonprofit organization, those things will actually help you be eligible for a lot of those opportunities. So putting that on your application can really be beneficial. So keep that in mind, that if something comes up and you can do like some volunteer work or for an organization, sometimes it just requires somebody signing off and say, yeah, you were here for 10 hours or 5 hours, and then you get to put that on your application. I have a strong belief that what type of things you put out into the world, you're going to get those back. And so just like you're here, be a support for one another. Look across the table from you, recognize that you're part of a community and part of a group, and even a part of a group that I was a part of and still am. Be helpful to each other. Ask them how their day's going. Ask them how their studies are going. Hey, have you signed up for this specific scholarship? This is one that I found I'm eligible for. Maybe you are too. So share information with each other. That's also going to be helpful. And just when opportunities come to help others, I really believe that energy and that time will come back to you, and you'll be able to see that help come to you, or be put in a position where you'll be a beneficiary of those things. So put good out in the world. You'll definitely see that come back to you. I believe strongly in that. And even when you're attacking some of these applications, keep in your mind, don't procrastinate, be early, be proactive with it. Don't psych yourself out of something that you could have access to and can be really beneficial to you. So I'm just going to open it up for a few questions if you have any. But that's all I have.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna do. Tell me other question. We're gonna draw. We're gonna draw for door prize. So if you want to pick a couple.
Yeah. Cool. I don't know whose names or numbers are in here.
you can just read
You want me to read it out?
Yeah, please. If you could also